You're ready to get started with your clothing brand. Now it's time to pick a name and to protect that name. So in this video, I'm going to show you how to pick your perfect brand name and then also how to protect it. So let's get going. Hi everyone, I'm Annie, and why should you even listen to me? Well, because I have 18 years of experience in the fashion industry as a designer, a product developer, and a product development director. And for the last 4 years, I have transitioned myself to helping small businesses and startups start their own clothing brand, because it is so difficult for a newbie to be able to navigate these waters without somebody to help them. There's just so many steps. And if you never created a clothing brand before, it can be very overwhelming and very daunting. So I am here to help you. So let's get started. So picking your name, honestly, I'm not going to sit here and just try to say like there's a formula to picking out a great name. The name could be just your name, whatever your name is. Like my name's Annie Lay, like that might be the name of my clothing brand. If you're not going to use your name, you want to use something that's going to be resonating with your audience and resonating with what the product is going to be. You want it to speak to what your brand is. And that's why the idea and design and brand concept phase that I talked about before is so important, because that's how you're really going to figure out what this brand is all about, and that's going to create your name. You want something that's like not too long. You don't want anything that people can't understand, but something short and sweet. Why? Because you also want to be able to have a logo that could be easily added to any product, any apparel, without having to mess with scale. I've seen people that have brands, the names are just way too long, and then it really pigeonholes you into specific branding techniques for your line. Say you're an athleisure brand, but then your brand name is huge. Not huge in terms of successful, but huge in terms of it's like 24 letters long. That's going to be hard for you to be able to put that on the clothing. So, you want to have a brand where, you can easily design the logo so it can go on any clothing. So just be really cognizant about that. When you're picking your brand, something that resonates with your audience, something that is easily rememberable. You don't want to have a name that's too complicated that people will be like, what's that? What's that brand? I don't remember. Oh my God, I don't remember. And then what happens if the tag's gone on the clothing? Then you may have lost a customer, right? So just remember that. Simplicity for me is always the key. Like when it comes to design, when it comes to branding, I don't like to really overcomplicate things. But when you get to the point where you do have a name, what you want to do is you want to protect that name. Because I can't tell you how many times I've worked with startups where they had a fantastic name, but they didn't go through the steps to protect the name or to even check if another brand has already trademarked the name or purchased the name on domains. And then we get all the way through sampling, approval of samples. They've paid me a bunch of money. They've paid the factory a bunch of money. And then we can't use the name. And I've had it before where the brand either dies at that point because people are just so deflated and they're like, this is the name we wanted. This was our baby. We can't keep going if we're not gonna be able to use this name. Or we've had to stop production and think up a brand new name and then do all new trims and lose all this money and everything to be able to salvage what we have. I can't tell you enough how important it is to not only find your name, but really the point of this video is for you to protect the name and to make sure you're not going to get yourself into any major legal trouble by using somebody else's name. You really don't want to do that. So that's the purpose of also checking the trademark. So when you get your name, what you want to do is at the very least, in terms of legal checks for your name, is to get a DBA. You can still be a sole proprietor if you don't want to go through the whole LLC route or anything, which I do recommend. If this is going to be a serious thing and you really want to turn this into eventually a full-time business, an LLC is going to be something that's going to be really helpful to help protect you personally and then also your brand. But at the very least, get a DBA. DBA meaning doing business as, and that is a citywide thing. That's just letting everybody know that, hey, when you see this brand name, that's me. That's what I'm doing business as. You can still run it as a sole proprietorship after that. Statewide, you want to do an LLC. An LLC is going to really or whatever, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, whichever way, but legally separating yourself from the brand and also holding on to that name statewide because you've registered that name as basically its own person. And then nationally would be your trademark. And I would say at the very least, you really want to check if the name that you like has already been trademarked. If you don't plan on if you can't afford it, you don't plan on getting a trademark just yet, you want to see how things go, at the very least, do a check. And you can just do that at what's the website? USTPO.gov. You can do a simple check for the name. Just make sure nobody else has got it, because if somebody else has got it, it doesn't even matter. You can't use the name. That's just it. So just save yourself some heartache in the very beginning. Figure out that name. Do whatever legal things. This is not a legal channel. I'm not giving you advice, but kind of. But I would recommend that you would go through this. If this is going to be a serious thing for you, I would recommend you go through the steps to make it legal, to get your name. And then also, at the very least, do a check with your trademark to make sure nobody else is using that name and that you will eventually trademark that name. And I would say that, I'm not telling you have to do it. But what I am saying is I've had clients where they didn't do it and it turned into much more of a headache than it was worth if they had just made that quick search in the very beginning, because we could have just started from scratch with the proper name. So, and then you don't want to end up like launching a brand with like a name that you didn't love. So that's my spiel. I'm not a lawyer, but this is the things I've seen and just wanted to give you a heads up about it. So if you like this content, if you want to see some more from me, please, please, please like and subscribe. Go to this video right here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.